What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Raw review, this time for June 7, 1993 of Monday Night Raw. So let's get right into it. The show starts with the ring announcer introducing the new Intercontinental Champion, Shawn Michaels. The King of the Ring pay-per-view hasn't happened yet, so I was wondering when this happened. Shawn interrupts the three-man commentary group and introduces his new bodyguard, who doesn't have a name yet, but it's Kevin Nash, aka Diesel. Shawn is out to have a match as well with a jobber and beats him with a pile driver. For some reason, Shawn does use the super kick, but still does not finish anybody with it. I skipped these enhancement matches in case you don't know, so I still have no idea when Shawn won the belt or what happened to Marty Jannetty to why he lost it. Just in case they mention it on commentary, that's why I still don't know why Shawn Michaels is the champion. Because if they mention it on commentary during this match, I didn't watch the match, so I have no idea if they mention anything about it. So yeah, Shawn Michaels is the new king of the ring, the new Intercontinental Champion. So whatever. It's not like it's Johnny Gonzalez or anybody, so I'm fine with it. After the King of the Ring update, Shawn Michaels storms back out, and again, I don't watch these updates either, so they might have announced his match against Crush there, but Shawn Michaels comes back out mad that he's already scheduled to defend the title so soon after winning it against a guy the size of Crush. But he's got his bodyguard with him, so he's not sweating it and cools off and leaves to the back. The next match we have is Tito Santana versus Adam Bomb with Johnny Polo in his corner. Really basic match. Adam Bomb sets up a move at the end from the apron. He slingshots himself and hits a clothesline into the back of Tito for the win. So yeah, it's not a bad match, but then again, it's also a match you can skip because not much of anything exciting really happens in it. Next up, Tatanka in something we haven't seen, well, at least in a week or two. He's in another jobber match and wins with a top rope, axe handle, axe hammer, whatever you want to call it. He seemed really pissed off during the match. I don't know if this was done on purpose or if he for real disliked the guy that he was wrestling for messing something up, but he goes ahead and wins and continues his undefeated streak towards the King of the Ring tournament. Following that, we have Jerry the King Lawler coming out for King's Court. He makes fun of the people in New York, and then Yokozuna comes out as his guest. They do explain why Hulk Hogan hasn't been there, saying that he's been in Hollywood making movies. Mr. Fuji goes on about what Yokozuna is going to do to Hogan at the pay-per-view. Then all the people in Japan will rejoice. Yokozuna tells Hogan that he is going down, and that's pretty much it. If this is what we're getting with Yokozuna not as the champion, I can only imagine how much more uneventful his run will be with a championship. So next up we have a mixed tag team match, and when I say mixed, I mean two teams with a guy from another team as their partner. I don't mean a man and a woman. Billy Gunn and Rick Steiner taking on IRS and Fatu, with everyone and their mama at ringside. Going off subject for a little bit, with how long they were running shows in the Manhattan Center, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more superstars or wrestlers that have been on record saying that they would be at most of the Manhattan Center shows when they were young, and that's when they knew that they were going to become wrestlers when they grew up. You always hear these wrestlers saying that they were at shows and they watched with their grandparents at home and watched on TV and this and that, but you never hear about them actually being at shows. Or, for example, New York is such a big city, you would think that somebody, somewhere, any wrestler, anywhere, would have been at most of these Manhattan Center shows, and we would have any type of footage of them, and we're like, oh shit, look, that's a young Randy Orton, for example. That's a young Keith Lee sitting on in the Manhattan. I'm pretty sure they were probably way too young in Actually, in '93, they might have been in that age range, or like being a young kid. Like, oh crap, just like we see Edge somehow at WrestleMania 6. How is that possible that we have footage of Edge at one of the biggest goddamn WrestleMania events ever, but nobody has ever said that they were at the Manhattan Center for Raw when they were there in the early 90s? You know, it just kind of, it's such a small world and such a big world at the same time. Back to the match though, some dissension between Money Inc. and the Head Shrinkers, but DiBiase gives them some money to ease the tension. The Head Shrinkers start eating the dollar bills though, because they don't know what money is, I guess, and they accept the peace offering and they're back on the same page. Billy Gunn starts cleaning house after the hot tag, but gets distracted by Ted DiBiase and gets nailed from behind by RS to lose the match. They have an 8-man tag team match at King of the Ring, so the bad guys getting the last laugh before the pay-per-view. Razor Ramon is up next, out to address the Kid, aka Six, aka the Shtick Main, with these words. Take a listen.
Everybody pay-per-view, McMahon. Right here, Monday Night Raw, next week, the match that everybody wants to see. This Stickman, this 1, 2, 3 kid, he gonna face the bad guy right here for $7,500. We have no confirmation.
Then he also addresses his match against Bret Hart in the King of the Ring tournament.
Okay, you know who cares what they think? Nobody. Okay, McMahon, the Nutter Center, that's the name of the building, right? That's where the pay-per-view originates, right? That's such a good name. Because when the bad guy gets done with the hitman, he's just gonna be another loser, another has-been, another grease spot on the map. And Chico, the only 1, 2, 3 you're gonna hear is gonna be join us this Sunday night on a pay-per-view.
I can't believe they just cut my boy Razor Ramon off like that. But that was a nice little 1-2 punch by Razor Ramon cutting that promo. So next week I believe is the fallout from the King of the Ring pay-per-view. I'm not reviewing that, but I'm gonna have the results of some of the matches. And actually, as I'm saying that, I have already watched the next episode, and I've already done the review, and I have absolutely no results from any matches in that review, so disregard that last sentence. I started to read that, and I was like, oh shit, I don't actually have any results from the pay-per-view, but, you know, obviously there's still going to be some things that they talk about that happened at the King of the Ring that I'll cover in the next review, but I don't have any results from the matches or anything like that. So that was the end of the show. As you heard, they cut my boy Razor Ramon because they were out of time. So let's go ahead and get to the awards. For the best moment, I'm going to give it to Razor Ramon's promo. He sets up his pay-per-view match and also announces the rematch that everyone has been waiting for against the 1-2-3 Kid. The worst moment, I had the King's Court with Jerry Lawler, Mr. Fuji, and Yokozuna. Nothing was said that made me care about this upcoming title match with Hogan at all. For the worst match, I gave that to Tito Santana and Adam Bomb. I know I said it wasn't a bad match earlier, but it wasn't good either. For the best match, I'm going to give that to the tag team match, even though it ended terribly. Rick and Billy both had some good moves, and Ted DiBiase having to give the head shrinkers money so that they would cooperate. That was some fun stuff to watch. For the wackest performer, I'm going to say whoever was the jobber in Tatanka's match, whatever his name was, because he must have fucked something up really bad to upset Tatanka. Usually he's all smiles after he wins these matches, but this time he was staring a hole right through this guy after the match. It was really uncomfortable to watch. For the best performer, I'm going to give that to Shawn Michaels. He had a match and he cut a good pre and post match promo, and he's the new Intercontinental Champion. So standout performer, best performer goes to Shawn Michaels. This show is going to get another C level grade. Just not enough to fill out the show. They do one good thing here and there, and then they have like 2 or 3 nothing segments or matches in a row. The better parts of this episode were the opening with Shawn and the ending with Razor. But it's still a passing grade, so that means we're going to add another tally to the good shows, making it 13, 6 in the bad, and 1 great show. So 13, 6, and 1. I'm hoping to have the tally count up on the next video or in the description next time, so I don't have to keep explaining it every time. I could just say what's changing and what I'm adding to that particular show, and then you'll just be able to see the change on the screen. But yeah, at least the bad Raws are starting to creep away further and further from the good ones. But if this was 2020, I think we would be like at 1 good Raw, 20 bad ones, and like 6 terrible shows. But anyways, I'm not watching the current WWE at the moment, so let's not dwell on the negative. Just like I'm not going to dwell on me using the word dwell. I've never used that word ever before. So that's 2 weeks in a row that I've used words that I've never used in my dictionary ever. Bamboozled last week and dwell on this episode. Let's just focus on the positive of these reviews, because we still have the Shawn Michaels 1996 era, the Attitude era, the Evolution era, the Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar SmackDown era, and the Eric Bischoff as the GM era, the rise of Edge, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, the CM Punk pipe bomb. I mean, we have a lot to look forward to. And I've already done reviews for the years of 2015 through 2019, so I don't even have to go into that era. And that's been the worst eras for booking and building new stars in the history of WWE. So I'm not even in the worst part of it. And before 2015, the early 90s were really the worst that people could recall WWF, WWE ever being. 2015 through now said, you know what? Hold my beer. We're going to take this one step further. And of course, that is at least on the main roster because NXT, obviously, one of the better wrestling shows in the world. So, if you do want to see any of those reviews from 2015 through 2019, check the description for those reviews in the playlist. I believe I have it titled WWE Reviews Through the Years or something like that. And as the reviews keep going, I'm going to be done with this one. I'll catch you guys next time.